Welcome to Slasher Sunday. Tonight I'm going to be covering one of my most memorable VHS covers. That is Mountaintop Motel Massacre. I'm looking at the pictures on the back of this box, and I'm not sure either of these pictures are featured in the film. Not that I remember. What? Okay, interesting. Alright, so please do not disturb Evelyn. She already is. So Evelyn has been recently released from a psychiatric ward, and she ends up killing her daughter because her daughter's practicing witchcraft in the basement, I guess. And the cops show up and they're like, one of them's trying to kind of ask her some questions and interrogate her because she just got out of a fucking mental institution and her daughter's throat has been cut and everything else in the room with her, including the goat and the bunny and everything, were butchered as well by a scythe that probably had her fingerprints all over it. But then the other cop's like, well, I mean, this isn't the time, man. You need to, like, give her time, this and that. She's the most likely suspect. She did do it. And they pretty much fucking know they did it. That she does it. And so they just leave her alone. And because of that shoddy police work, this gets multiple people killed at her hotel or motel over the next, 12 hours, I guess. A lot of people show up randomly to this Mountaintop Motel on the same night randomly, but I guess there's a storm and, everyone's driving up this remote road that only leads to this motel that everyone seems to know exists. I don't fucking know. But this is a slasher with a killer woman, so that is unique. Now, the kills in this movie are pretty terrible, pretty forgettable, nothing interesting or unique about them. The woman playing Evelyn is kind of creepy to a degree, but nowhere near utilized enough. And then as far as the characters go, the one that they focus on the most is the piece of shit lying record producer who actually isn't one. We'll get to that. But then we have another cast of characters here. We've got these two older men that are in separate rooms, but they kind of bond through drinking and the sharing of sausages in a can. He's like, is there a, diner around here or something? He's like, oh no, you can just eat with me. You can have lunch here with me. I got cheap fucking booze and I got little Vienna sausages in a can. Gross. No thanks. But the people who stay here seem to not really have any standards. And let's see. All right. And I already talked about all that. I already talked about that. Jesus Christ. The copy that I was watching, because I was watching my VHS copy, it still had the cigarette burns in it. It's so weird when I see that in, VHS copies of movies. It's like, you didn't have a copy without that? Wow. But regardless, for some reason my VCR has stopped putting picture out and I can't figure out why yet. So I'm gonna have to fuck around with it, maybe switch over to an auxiliary cable, because right now I'm running an audio video cable. So whatever the hell happened, I don't know. It kind of comes in and out, so I'm really not understanding that. So I had to switch over to watch this on Tubi. And Tubi seriously has fucking everything. So if you haven't been to TubiTV.com, make sure that you go over there. And if you're looking for slashers from the 80s, look no further. I just realized that I didn't even put on any lights. I put on this terrible overhead light, so my lighting on this video is going to be fucking terrible. It's currently 2:36 in the morning. The movie just ended the second before I pressed record. And I just totally forgot to fucking turn my lights on and everything. So I apologize for the quality of the light in here. I'm sure it's awful. But anyone who's been a fan of my channel for a while or a viewer has sat through much worse looking videos and much worse sounding videos. So this is nothing. You know, this is like a blast from the past here. All right, anyway. And this guy takes his brand new bride. This is like their little honeymoon getaway, and I don't know if they've ever had sex because he's kind of acting like they never had, like they waited for marriage, or maybe he just wants to consummate the marriage, which you have to, whatever way it is. He's horny, he wants to get laid. You know, one can empathize. He takes her to the shittiest place in the middle of absolutely fucking nowhere. And then when she kind of tries to give him shit about it, he's like, gets all defensive and like, you know, I can't afford anything else and this and that. It's like, maybe it wasn't the best time to get married then if you can't afford to take your wife on your wedding night to a better joint than the Mountaintop Motel run by crazy ass Evelyn. That is some cheap ass shit, man. You could have saved up a little more to take your wife to a decent fucking hotel. Come on. This hotel or motel is abysmal. Just, I mean, every awful thing you can imagine. There's snakes in the room, there's rats in the room, there's cockroaches in the room, and then there's Evelyn in the room who's killing people. So you couldn't get much worse of a joint than this place. But the place is only $7 a night. $7. I can't believe. You know, hotels have really went up exponentially. When I was a teenager, we used to rent hotels all the time, man. You get a room for like $20, no problem. In fact, that was actually kind of expensive to us when we were teenagers. But now, oh my God. But I always go and use like Priceline or something and end up finding some La Quinta or something for like $50. And it's always nice. I always, 9 times out of 10, I do pretty well with them. Although there was one time recently when, well, not super recently, but maybe 6 months ago when Kaylee was coming out to visit and my kids and her stayed in a hotel for like 3 nights. This place was just like, I had to go up to the front to complain so many times about so many different things. I got locked out of the entire hotel multiple times because my key stopped working for some reason, and the hot water would go in and out, and the refrigerator wasn't working, and this and that and blah blah blah. It kept going. So much to the point where like a month after we left, I got refunded for the entire price of our entire stay, which was weird. I wasn't expecting. I'd pretty much forgotten about it by that point. But I told some kid up front. He's like, "I'm going to tell my manager. I'm going to talk to him." And then nothing came of it. And I was like, "All right, he must have forgot, or he didn't care, and he was bullshitting me." But he got me every cent back. So at least I think it was him. I can only assume it was. But he seemed very upset and was like, "I'm gonna talk to my man. This is insane. This is unacceptable," And I thought he was just playing me, but clearly he wasn't. So then we get the guy in this that I guess ends up kind of like being. He's not even really the hero. He kind of tries to play like he's gonna be the hero, but this guy to me is irredeemable, man. He picks up these 2 girls in a rainstorm. Of course, they're wearing white t-shirts with no bras, which is the only nudity of the film, which is like wet t-shirts. And then we get the guy who's there with his new wife. We get like side boob, and she never turns around. So a lot of titties in this movie for sure, but there's not much left for the imagination in the white t-shirts, wet completely, right? Like, you basically saw their tits. So there are some tits in this, but he picks these girls up on the side of the road, and in one way you could be like, well, come on, these girls fell for this is stupid. They didn't, actually. One of them didn't. The one named Prissy, who, when the girl Tawny introduced both of them, she said, and this is my friend? Friend or... Yeah, I think friend. I don't think it's her sister. Whatever it is, she's like, this is my whoever. Pussy. That's what I thought I heard at first. I was like, pussy? It really, like, I wrote it down immediately. I was like, her friend's name is Pussy? My cousin. Oh, there it is. Cousin. I wrote cousin. Cousin. Pussy. Ah, fuck, man. That one really made me laugh when I heard it out loud. But yeah, no, it's Prissy. And Prissy actually doesn't fall for any of this shit. She's, on to what he's selling pretty much instantly. And Tawny just doesn't care, man. She's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm rolling the dice on this. And she even tells Prissy, she's like, look, even if he is lying, all you're going to do is lose a night in the hay, as she calls, or romp in the hay, as she says. If this guy's lying to us, all that's really going to happen is you're just going to fuck some scumbag. What's the big deal? Like, it's incredible how dismissive Tawny is about giving her body away to some guy who's lying to her face. And she's like, well, it's worth the risk. I mean, I guess if that's your prerogative, like if you, yeah, I guess she is kind of rolling the dice, and it's her decision to make. It's very obvious this guy's lying, and he's so clearly lying, like he's rolling his eyes around them and like coming up to the door and listening in on their conversations when Prissy's being like, no, this guy's full of shit. And Tawny's like, I'm gonna go for it, and he like smiles and runs back to get the bed. Total piece of shit. But then what's weird is typically the rules, as Scream always says, bullshit, is that the virgins are the ones that live, and that the sexually promiscuous ones are the ones that die. Well, Evelyn must not have gotten the news, because Prissy stays in the bathroom because she doesn't agree with what Tawny's about to do with our dickhead salesman, wannabe record producer. And so she stays in the bathroom. She's the one who's the good one. She's the celibate one. She's the one that's not giving her body away. The whole rules of Scream, right? Like, don't ever have sex. You gotta stay pure for the movie, whatever. Not in this fucking movie. She's the first to go, man. She's gone. She's not the first death in the movie, but what I'm saying, of those three, she's the first one killed. In fact, she's the only one killed of those three. So she decides to do the right thing, to have some self-respect, to see this guy for exactly what he is, a lying scumbag. And she gets killed for it. And Tawny, who gives in to her sexual temptations and her desire to be famous and have this singing career, she gets to live. And the asshole manipulator, liar, also gets to kind of have a hero moment where he's going to go look for Evelyn down in the, tunnels that are under their rooms, and she's like, be careful, and kisses him goodbye after he outright admitted to her, like, sorry, I was lying to you, I was just trying to have some fun. Fuck that. I could not get on board with that at all. Now, is it unbelievable? No. And so is it me trying to say, like, no, that would never happen, this and that? No. But that doesn't mean I have to like it. And this guy's a piece of shit. Like, seriously, dude, if you can't get laid by telling the truth, then you shouldn't be getting laid. Okay? So be upfront and roll the dice. Tawny rolled the dice, so why don't you roll the dice? You picked up these two little cute chicks on the side of the road. They're coming back to your hotel room with them. Maybe if you're just honest with them. Talk to them. Maybe things will work out, or maybe you'll just have a great night. I don't know. I just picking up chicks and lying to them to get them in bed. So fucked up. And then for them to sell us that he's supposed to kind of like be a protagonist, a hero in the end. No. And then he really just doesn't do anything. He goes down there and nothing, and then he just comes back in the place, and he's like, "Oh, I heard something. I hit my head," or some bullshit. Probably lying again. And then, oh my god, that older man who gets all the cockroaches all over him, and the actor literally has cockroaches crawling all over his body, and there's a scene where they have a close-up of a cockroach on his fucking face. Dude, if they were like, Jason, we'll put you in this movie, you just have to have cockroaches like crawling on your face and all over your body. No, absolutely not. I lived in a cockroach infested apartment once. I mean, fucking infested, unbelievable amount, and I was clean as hell. I always am. It was in the walls, and it just, oh my god, I'd kill 15, 20 of them a day at least, and every time I pull the microwave away, or there'd be a 5 that would scatter. Wouldn't matter what you did. And we had the exterminators come, and they tried multiple times, never worked. Terrible. So the idea, and I've woken up with them on me in that, oh god, yeah, not cool. And I got this rip in my couch. Sucks, man. I haven't even had this couch that long, and it just started falling apart. It was a hand-me-down from my dad, but fuck, man. I don't know. I have to take that somewhere and get it fixed. It sucks. It's so messed up. And then the guy, I mean, look at the dude who just got married, and it's not like they're being promiscuous. Like, this is their wedding night. You're allowed to have sex on your wedding night, right? Like, you shouldn't be punished for that in the rules of anything. Especially if this is the first time they legitimately waited. I don't think people should do that, but if they did, then they sure as fuck, in the rules of these movies, shouldn't die. But this guy gets bit in the face before he even gets to have sex, and then him and his wife are both murdered before anything can even happen. This poor son of a bitch. And then the lying salesman dude gets to live. That's just, wow. But yeah, that's just it. Like, you can't figure out who's going to live and who's going to die in this movie. You think for sure that dude's going out, but nope. You think for sure that Tawny's going out, but nope. Because they're the promiscuous ones, but they're the only survivors outside of the cop who comes to help them. Let's see. Yeah. I wrote so much negative about this guy. It's funny. Lying prick and dirtbag, and he's just, I trashed this guy in my notes. It's just unacceptable to me. So the cockroach guy, he gets his hand cut off by Evelyn, and then when the cop comes down, because I guess he's the one that thought it was Evelyn all along, although he didn't really follow up on it much and got multiple people killed. He goes down there and he sees the guy's hand, and the guy's hand is still on the ground moving, because that happened in the basement where the girl's practicing the witchcraft. And then at the end of the movie, when the sheriff is taking, or whatever his cop that is taking away Tawny and douchebag, the daughter is just like, we see like a moment of her feet running, and then like a second of her face, and she's clearly dead and back from the dead. So I guess her witchcraft worked. Now, she's like talking to her dead dad at the beginning and being like, Mom is sick. And then Mom is like hearing all these voices, but somehow this girl's practicing witchcraft, and it actually works and brings her back. And I guess that's why the hand was moving, but wouldn't Evelyn's also then come back to life? Is that what they were setting up for a sequel? I have no idea here. The makeup effects in this are mostly not good, or almost non-existent, but Evelyn's neck cut like that was pretty cool. The one through the cheek and out the other side was okay. So not completely without some coolness stuff, but for the most part. Um, Now, Evelyn gets this scythe stuck in a beam, like a support beam, and then when her and the cop are fighting, the support beam collapses and falls, and the scythe is in it still, and it comes by and it just sticks her right in the neck, and like almost completely, it makes her nearly headless. Nearly headless. How can you be nearly headless? Um, but then she pops back up for one final scare. It's funny how much I trash Scream on this channel. I am going to be watching all four of them again, and even the TV series probably with Kaylee before the new one comes out in January, because she's a much, much bigger Scream fan than I am. And she's never seen part 3 or 4. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're the Scream fan of us two? And I've seen way more Scream than you. I've seen Scream 3, I've seen Scream 4, I've seen 2 seasons of the TV series and a couple episodes of that third season that's absolutely abysmally awful. But I couldn't believe it. It actually was shocking to me. I even bought her this. So I actually have this in my collection. So anyway, so yeah, I'm sure I'll be checking out some Scream. But man, I talk a lot of Scream trash. Anyway, you just don't like it. But maybe I'll come around on it after my, I don't know, 7th viewing of the fucking film at this point. I always give it tries. I at least give it all the tries. I just can't seem to ever get into it. And yeah, the Witchcraft, I guess, works out. So I don't know. Is Evelyn actually alive down there? I would assume. Does that mean all the people? See, that's what would have been cool in the end here. This movie does not pull off a lot of things that it should. But one thing that would have been cool would have been the cops. The cops in the car with the couple, I guess, but the guy and the girl who survive. And it's just the daughter that's there, which makes the least sense because the daughter would have been taken by the police. So she would be in a morgue somewhere far away. So the people who would come back should be the entire cast that died, right? It should be Evelyn. It should be the married couple. It should be the 2 older men. It should be Prissy, aka Pussy. It should be like, that's what it should be. And even the goat and the bunny, like if they were there and they were dead looking and they were all looking out at the cop and the cop was like, what the fuck? And he like drove off and they were like screaming because the witch. Now that would have been badass. That would have been a great ending to see all of the people who were killed are back and now they're all villainous and they're like, looking menacing. And there's the ending that should have happened if you're going to go for this whole witchcraft thing, pulled it off. The witchcraft thing is so fucking random. Like, what is that? I don't know. Are they trying to say that the daughter was the one who was influencing and fucking with Evelyn's mind? She's the evil one here, and she's been controlling her from beyond the grave. But Evelyn's already in a mental institution. But maybe her daughter put her in there from before. The dad was. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this. Like, and the characters are so flat. The only thing that's really, I don't know. The married couple is pretty generic. Like, I want to get laid, and she's like, hold on, big boy. I do feel bad for the guy, though. Jesus Christ. If he really did wait, and then he ends up getting killed before he can even have sex, what a shame. Damn. Brutal. I feel like there's something I'm missing here, but maybe not. I feel like I wrote some things down also. The girls in the car when they get to the hotel are completely dry after being in the rain and drenched as much as they were, which of course is ridiculous. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I've gone through all my notes here. If I missed something, oh well. Yeah, looks like it. All right, so who's seen this? Is this a memorable VHS box cover for you? I don't know. There's something about it though is always like kind of silly, but kind of interesting. And welcome to Mountaintop Motel, yes, or what it's called. Uh, Home cooked meal. Road weary traveler looking for a warm room and a home cooked meal. You can check in anytime you want, but you can never leave. That's the psycho tag. There's no meals. Dude eating Vienna sausages out of cans. Yeah. Anyways, all right. I gotta go to bed. It's 3 in the morning. Adios.